So, just before we go on to what actually happened in front of us, so the period at 0-0 on the draw in game state was so it was 66% possession for us, 8 shots to 4, 6 in the box to 1, and XG was 0.99 to 0.2, and the EPV was 1.4 to 0.35. So some pretty good numbers there. That that should be by rights, that should be a 1-0 lead at that point, shouldn't it, Bots? But it is what it is. Typical. We can't hit a barn door at the moment, can we?
And this is, to be honest with you, that McAllister opportunity on another day, he
leathers it.
He levers it, and that goes in. And then even on the second phase one, that goes in, and it's
the Kirkes one goes in as well from the cutback.
Yeah, from the cutback. They're two very, very good cutbacks. Exactly where you want the ball to go. We just don't convert them. It's unfortunate at the moment.
Yeah. So, Si and Hamza, talk to us about that first that first period of the game, and we played a bit differently, I thought. We played a way that I don't think I'd seen us maybe do in our build-up and way we were building this season. What did you see? Si.
I thought we did all right. I didn't think Forest were launching too much that early, but we kept our eights quite deep to do the thing that Ginny used to do, just facilitate them getting out. So when our sixes were picking up deep balls, second balls that when they were getting out. So we were recycling possession kind of quite well. We were getting the ball to Mohammed. So
much, Si, so fucking much. It's
the most touches Mo's ever had in a match.
Incredible. 15 touches in the box.
Yeah, crazy. But early on in the match, they chosen to go with a giant right back, centre back playing right back who ended up scoring. But they were trying to put all of their big lads on the pitch. People underestimate how big our bloody team is. We don't play like the team we are. Our team average 1.5 inches of height more than their team. Across the board, we've got absolute giants across. We got 5 players taller than any of their players that were on this pitch. So they were trying to get their big lads on the pitch as well. I thought early on that Gakpo, we got the ball quite well to our wide forwards, and we were making sure that we got the high triangles with the fullbacks and whichever 8 was over there to create the moment where one of them could isolate. So we were getting rotating triangles going on there, so we could get on either side. So Gakpo and Mo could get the ball fairly early and isolate and go that diagonal running on into the box from the outside. And it kind of worked for both of them for different reasons. Gakpo got in the box, I think 5 times in the first 20 minutes. Dribbled into the box 2 or 3 times in a almost Suarez kind of way of dribbling straight at somebody and getting the ball bounced off their shins and stuff. But yeah, in that early period of time, in the first 30 minutes, that Mo had 24 touches, Gakpo had 23 touches. And we've been going games almost with that level of attack. So we were getting the ball high and wide really quickly. Not in a Trent kind of way, but in a very deliberate manner so that we could play off there, which I thought was effective. We got us in the box and we got some decent chances from it. I would argue the Mac chance, though, was he had 6 players in front of it. Like, if he'd have scored it, it'd have been an absolute beauty, and there would have been a bit of luck in there to get past the defenders. The one that blocked it on the line, there was another one behind it. So we managed to... I want to talk to Hanji about this. That Mac had the most shots in the game, and we keep having centre mids that are taking lots of shots, and the best chances were going to our centre mids, getting into the box, and Mac was very often getting high up into the box, even beyond, but definitely alongside Isaac. And like when that happens, they're the ones that are going to end up with the chances. And do you want the best chances falling to Mac, who I love, or to the 125 million centre forward that we paid to be a finisher? And that's kind of what was happening, or to the left back who was getting in there. By the way, I thought Kirkaz was fouled. I thought it should have been a penalty. But yeah. So, but the top. What to align with what Darth is saying, that we played quite well in the first 25-30 minutes. I think we got into the hot zones in the most deliberate manner, as frequently as I've seen us do all season.
Can I just say, Si, it was almost like we were trying the process.
It did feel like it.
Yeah.
Feel like it.
Yeah. Can I just on the Salah stuff, right? And I know it didn't come off from Mohamed, right? But 90 touches. You already said that's like one of the highest numbers he's ever had for Liverpool, if not the highest.
Yeah. Oh, I'm at 88. Yeah.
88. Yeah. 59 passes received. He made 14 progressive passes. He attempted 17 dribbles. He made.
It's so weird how each site has different numbers. So weird.
Yeah, 0.48 expected threat. That's a big number, Bart, isn't it, for Mo? In what threat created, big number.
Huge number.
And if you look at where his dribbles are, it's exactly where you'd want him. It's right down the right hand touch line. It's right going into the box on the right hand side. It's just I don't know. We've talked about who's going to get. One thing we can't say in this is who's going to get the ball to Mo. It's just that. So if we'd had a more functioning centre forward in this system, this is exactly what you'd need, right? You'd need a winger receiving a high volume of threat in the channels, who then supplies the centre forwards to finish moves, right?
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Yeah, but you also, in this game, at some point, I would like Mo to get a chance that isn't 10 yards outside of the 6-yard box angles. Yeah. But also in this game, we can say like it worked for Mo, it didn't work for Mo, whatever. Mo created he created the biggest chances that wasn't awarded to him, which is ridiculous. And he also created a really good chance for Isaac.
Yeah, he was a progressive creator in this role, wasn't he? Yeah. He was So
we were playing through Mo, which is, I think, the first time we've done it outside of the Champions League this season.
Yeah, and to be fair, we were playing through Gakpo as well, but obviously to a slightly lesser extent. Yeah, than you've already mentioned that. Hamza, do you want to build on what Si said? What did you see differently in terms of? Do you think we were trying a process?
I think so, and the interesting thing, I guess, is to question, and I don't have the answer for this, so I'd be interested to hear your thoughts, because before we came into this match, we said, all right, we know Liverpool can play against a team that presses. We know that they can beat Villa, they can beat Real Madrid. Manchester City are a very good team, so maybe you press them and you lose. But how can they deal with long balls? That was a question, right? And my question is, for the first 30 minutes, do you think there was some sort of template there, especially with what Si mentioned about keeping your number 8s deeper to recover the second balls and to anchor the play? Is that the template then to deal with long balls now? It is, and then can we say, okay, the goal changed the game and the performance after that was very bad, but was that first 30 minutes the sign of some sort of plan to deal with long balls? I would lean perhaps, but again, I'm not too sure. So that's why I'm interested to hear what you guys think.
Well, Forest, according to Bart's stats pack, the Forest long ball rate was 30% when the game was tied. So they were trying them, Hamza. So do you think that was with them? Because the 30% long ball rate is high, yes, from an opponent. What did you think about the way we counteracted that at 0-0?
I actually don't think they played that many long balls. In the first, have you split it into the first 30 bars?
Yeah, no. There's a 0-0. There's a game stay tight and it's 30% long ball rate. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's longer than it looks in the graphics if you play the long ball graphics in Stat Zone. Makes sense. I thought that they weren't going. They were trying to just clear the ball diagonally over the fullbacks rather than launch it onto the centre backs. I thought we were smarter in how we set up vertically in midfield. and then how Curtis got out to help create the triangles, and we're comfortable out there. But I don't know. I think they didn't even really leave anybody up front. At this point, it was a very small sample of, I'm not sure how much we enforced them to do a thing they didn't want to do and how much they were happy to allow us to blow ourselves out a little bit.
Yeah. Bards, anything from you on that period that you want to bring in?
I think it might be a template, because even though it's that they put it into the channel, that still caused us problems this season. So for us to deal with that ball better, even if it wasn't over the fullbacks, I think is a sign of improvement. I think the and then the way in which the 8 supported it, you see in the hard triangles, if you just break it down the first 20, you've got a solid pass network there, which we haven't seen. You look at the whole first half, which kind of tailed off through it. There's solid periods of movement that happens, and Forest don't really come into it till post a goal. So I think it might be a template. It's just that we're so brittle at the moment that you can see the goal and then it changes completely. But there seems to be a way in which I agree with all of you. I think the first half an hour, it looked like we'd come out and we were going to play this way. The unfortunate thing for the first 20 minutes is that there is a player missing on the pass network.
Who is that player?
That's number 9. And number 9 is not linked in at all. And this is even down to 2 passes to create a network. So he's not in there. So for that fantastic period that we all spoke about, and Si even mentioned it, the chances of falling to our 8, so whoever was going to be the third man run, it was Mac or it was CJ or it was Dom on the edge with a shot, inverting it. They weren't coming to Matt, to Isaac. He wasn't involved in play. I don't think he touched it for the goal.
No, we had 14 touches. I think his first pass was 17 minutes. I remarked on in our WhatsApp chat.
This is a problem that a lot of top teams face when playing against a low block, though. If, for example, you take another number 9, let's say Haaland or Havertz or Gyökeres at Arsenal, you would see similar sorts of things in terms of them not being that involved in play and combining with teammates because they're playing against a low block. And I understand. I think
that's fair.
When Si says you'd rather
they all have shots.
Yeah, that's true. You would rather, like Si said, you would rather have Isak taking shots rather than McAllister and Kirkes. But at the same time, when it's difficult to create chances in the first place, against a compact team in the middle of the area, it's hard to, in that moment, prioritise getting the ball to the right person. You're just looking for the space and the player to attack the space, right? Si?
Yeah. I would absolutely leverage touches in the build phase. We've got lots of lads who can create. With a lad, if we're playing a 9, I'm absolutely fine with making angular runs around the centre spot. So if he's varying his angles and getting towards the centre spot and around the centre spot, the penalty spot. If we're putting 40 crosses in a game to a 6'4" centre forward, whose job is not to be in the build-up phase, but to be on the end of these chances, I would quite like for him to be on the penalty spot, getting on the end of these chances. And he just wasn't. So my issue with Isaac isn't that he wasn't involved in the passing. As long as he is moving, so he is committing the defence, right? If he is committing the centre-backs by his movement, if he is managing to get in front of Milichenko or whatever his name is, Milenkovic, there you go. It wasn't my bad reading, I just didn't care what his name. And so that he can commit his eye, his attention that way, which will give an extra metre of a gap between him and the fullback for Mo to go and pounce into. Fine with that. But then he needs to bust his nut to get in behind him so he can be somebody to pass to inside the box. He needs to be in goal scoring positions. And we put in 40 crosses and he was only really there for maybe 2 of them. It really pissed me off.
He had 3 touches in the box, Si, in 73 minutes, according to Bart's stats pack. And Federico Chiesa had 6 touches in the box in 27 minutes.
Chiesa was wild when he came on. That's definitely a conversation we should have at the end of this pod.
Yeah. the intensity, which is one thing that's sadly missing. On the intensity thing, so there was quite well publicised thing that Forest ran 6.5k more than us, which is bad. That's more than half a player. However, we didn't do so badly in the sprints, did we? That wasn't the whole. The total running wasn't the whole story, was it?
No. And I've said before, written bloody whole articles about it. The total distance really doesn't mean an awful lot. It just means that they might have had more throw-ins, and so they put more players up the pitch than we do whilst the ball's out of play, because it doesn't stop recording when the ball's not in play. Sprint distance, sprint volume and sprint distance matters exponentially more than total distance, and we out-sprinted them in both of those things. Then, we're still about 20% down on last season's during... Up to Christmas last season, we were doing about 20% more volume than we are now. So we're just less intense as a team.
Yeah, that's a big problem, isn't it? Yeah.
I don't know if it's, and looking at the team, it's not personnel. I don't think it's personnel, other than Gakpo sprints less times in a game than Diaz did. Diaz is a significant one, but Gakpo still played a lot of games up to Christmas anyway. That you're swapping a centre forward who did run a lot, whether you got Jota or Darwin. Darwin ran like a lunatic at the beginning of last season. So you're taking some of that intensity out there, but the rest of the lads are the same, and we're just less intense all round, which is a bit of a worry.
And it's something you said a few weeks back, which didn't really get picked up on anywhere, which was the top speeds are down for everybody as well.
Yeah, top speeds are down for everybody.
Yeah, apart from one or two players, and that's it. Yeah.
So just to say, Diaz played up front, though, didn't he, for a large part of it?
Yeah.
We might be missing that intensity down the middle rather than wide.
I think Diaz? I think the first game Diaz played up front was Real Madrid.
Yeah.
I just think that there is a block of time, isn't there, where you look at the components we're missing in the team, and he did end up playing Gakpo, Diaz, and Mo, right? Yeah. So at the moment, we don't either of Cody or Diaz doing what they were doing that season, because Cody's down, Mo's down, and we've got 9 that isn't, as we quite right. I mean, Hugo had more touches than Isak did in less time. And Hugo's not getting a game, and he had 1 less touch in the box than Isak did in the game this time. So yeah, there's a lot of intensity drops by personnel, isn't there, over the period of time.
There is. I wanted to leave this open, hoping that Hamza maybe looked at the numbers, because here I am defending Mohamed Salah. The Mo is doing...
It's your job, Sty. It's your job. No one else is going to do it.
Mo on average is making 2 sprints less per game than he was last season, and the only other player that isn't more than 5, which will be more than 15% drop, is Zobo, who's actually doing more sprints per game. Everybody else is down about 20, some even half. I'm not going to pull out these names because
is it the 2 players who play in the double pivot by any chance?
People will jump in intensity to attitude, and I'm not sure it's that.
Yeah. Is it the 2 players in the double pivot who were down the most by any chance?
I'm not saying a word.
He's nodding, people. Okay.
I really don't want to attribute anything that can be attributed to attitude. Because we don't know what people are being told to do.
We've been talking about McAllister since game 1 of the season, because he had a hernia operation this summer, which wasn't that widely reported. Massive thing to recover from, depending on the severity of the hernia that was there. Can be a slow burn to recover, but he was starting to look better around the Villa and the Real Madrid match, and now he's thrown in a couple of either side of the international break site. It hasn't been great for Mac, has it, these 2 games?
But if he'd have scored, nobody would be saying that.
True.
So if nothing changed, this is what I was saying about Mo. If nothing changed other than Kirkes tapped in a sitter, and the guy hadn't have dived in the way of Mac, people would just be saying entirely different things about exactly the same performance.
True. But the home crowd don't like midfielders shitting out of challenges, though, out of 50-50s, though. That's one thing. That's one thing that Anfield crowd... Well, that wasn't McAllister, by the way. That was Gravenberg a couple of times. So, but the home crowd really do not like that at Anfield.
No, it was Gakpo got booed.
Yeah. He did it.
Murillo had a shot from it.
Yeah.
So immediately Gakpo just pulled out, and then right in midfield, and then Murillo just had a I think probably like a 30-yard banger.
There was a Gravenberg one as well in the first half as well. So it was Hamza. So we've talked about some positives, little bits of positive there for Liverpool in the first half an hour, but we concede a cheap corner situation somehow, and then talk to us about the set piece, because I think this is probably the decisive moment of the match, isn't it?
Actually, just before we do that, just because you mentioned tackles, I think there's
you've been doing some analysis,
doing the rounds on social media. And the reason I just want to touch on this is because what I want to say is fundamentally don't pay too much attention to them. That's the key thing here. So there's a chart I think Sky Sports used which showed the decrease in interceptions and tackles per 90 for Liverpool. First of all, if you just look at the y-axis, you'll notice that the drop-off isn't that significant. And then if you actually compare it to other teams in the league historically, you go, oh, okay, well, as we know, right? So tackles is a descriptive stat, interceptions is 2. If you've got lots of tackles, that probably means you're doing lots of defending. If you're a good team, you're probably not going to be doing much defending. Likewise, interceptions. So if you look at Liverpool's tackles and interceptions figures, they're pretty similar to City and Arsenal. So I wouldn't pay too much attention there. But there is a few things that are a bit more deep that we can go into very quickly. So overall tackle volume is down. So in the defensive third a bit, in the final third a bit as well. Obviously, right, Liverpool are pressing less. But the middle third is the interesting bit. So this season, Liverpool are averaging, 4.58 tackles in the middle third. That's like the lowest of any Premier League team in the past 5 seasons. So that's really low. So that stands out. When you see an anomaly like that, you're like, wow, that's quite interesting. But if you look at possession, if you look at touches from opponents, you'll also notice that the volume of opposition possession is down, and the volume of touches that they have in the middle third is also down, right? And that pretty much explains why the tackles are lower. So I wouldn't read too much into that. If there is something you want to talk about with the tackles, it's probably the tackle success rate. But then you want to actually look into individual tackles and look at the outcome there, rather than just using the aggregate number. If you look at what's really interesting as well, and this links to the long ball rate, is so overall, Liverpool's opponents have fewer touches per match. So last season it was 544, season before that 544 again, season before that 548, season before that 526, all touches in the match. This season it's 487, so that's significantly lower. If you look at that by third, so defensive third 185, middle third 181, final third, so Liverpool's defensive third 119.6, 120. That 120 figure is larger than any of the previous 4 seasons, and that's with fewer touches overall, right? So the share of touches that they have in their attacking third, Liverpool's defensive third, is up. And I think that comes from long balls, contesting the initial aerial, playing off that. And I think that also explains why they've got far fewer in the defensive third and middle third, because they're just hitting long initially. They miss out the middle bit, and that means Liverpool can't press. And given over the past, 8 years, 10 years, the big move in football, elite football, has been towards pressing and chance generation from pressing, and the defensive. So you have chance generation pressing and the defensive qualities of pressing, right? So you can win the ball and create chances, and you can keep the ball away from your goal with pressing. But when teams go long, you can't do that, right? You can't win the ball from them in the final third because there's no opportunity to press, and you can't keep the ball away from where and force it to where you want to, because they're going long, you can't press it that way. So yeah, I think it was just important first just to touch on that before anyone gets sort of carried away with looking at some of these figures and going, wow, there's so few tackles overall, there's so few tackles in the middle third. I think the context is quite important to that.
And I think this is how an important lesson for everybody listening is that this is how you get to become Sports Data Journalist of the Year, because you don't look at numbers in isolation. You always understand the context in which those numbers exist. And I think it's fair to say, Hamza, before the pod, you don't get on your soapbox during the pod because you're very professional. But before the pod, you're very much on your soapbox, saying any tactical analysis or statistical analysis of Liverpool's season that does not factor in long balls is null and void. And I think they're under the lesson. SJA Data Journalist of the Year.
I would just add to that given the Liverpool manager and almost all the opposition managers talk about it as well,
Yes.
they're not bluffing when they mention that, right? They're being quite honest about it. That quote I mentioned from Sean Dyche, you looked at in depth the long ball rate and how teams look at Liverpool in a video analysis league and look at that and go, okay, that's a weakness. We can exploit that. I think you've got to consider the context of how an opponent is trying to play against Liverpool when looking at assessing the game in the whole. You can't just look at Liverpool are trying to do X, Liverpool are doing Y. That's the story of the match. It's the interaction of tactics that forms the match, right? But